It was a clear, sunny morning, and some of the Skarloey Railway's engines were getting ready for the day's work. Unusually, Duke, Sir Handel and Peter Sam had been asked to stay in the sheds by the Thin Controller.
I wonder what the Thin Controller wants with us.
Beats me. I've not done anything wrong.
Nobody said you had, Falcon.
I think you're about to find out, Sir Handel. Here he comes now.
The engines peered into the distance. Sure enough, the Thin Controller was escorting a visitor over towards the sheds.
Who is that with him?
I think that might be Charles Hatt.
I've heard that name before.
He's a TV host who ran as an independent candidate for the seat of Sodor in the last election. However, he didn't receive enough votes to get into Westminster.
The other engines looked inquiringly at Skarloey. Normally, politics was something they avoided.
My driver's wife volunteered for his campaign. I couldn't help picking up a bit about it.
I was glad for that help too,
Charlie Hatt said, as he and the Thin Controller joined the engines.
What brings you here, Mr. Hatt?
As Skarloey mentioned, I work in television these days. My current project is a documentary series, Charlie Hatt's Railways of Sodor. We're still doing research for it at the moment.
If I may guess, you'd like to ask us a few questions.
Indeed. There were some things about the Mid-Sodor Railway we couldn't find much information about, and I thought you might be able to help.
The former Mid-Sodor engines exchanged a look.
We'll be happy to help, Mr. Hatt, but I've got a train to take in a few minutes.
Actually, you don't, Sir Handel. I've rearranged the schedule for this morning slightly. You, Peter Sam and Duke won't be needed for a couple of hours.
Rusty frowned, worried.
But, sir...
But what, Rusty?
Sir, that only leaves 5 engines to run the rest of the railway.
6 engines, Rusty.
5 reliable engines, then.
The other engines knew who Rusty had in mind. Their number 9, Fred, did get sick rather often.
Don't worry, Rusty. There won't be any disruptions.
If you say so, sir.
So, what did you want to ask us, Mr. Hatt?
There are just 1 or 2 things for which we couldn't really find that much information.
And what would those be?
Well, we found mention of someone named Andreas, but not that many details. He seems to have only been there for a month or so. Was he an engine, or just someone who worked on the railway?
Oh, he was an engine, Mr. Hatt.
Not a very useful one at that.
You can say that again, Grandpuff.
Why did he only work on your railway for such a brief period?
Do you want to tell the story, Grandpuff?
Duke glared at Sir Handel.
You can, Falcon. I've no interest in doing so.
Sir Handel paused to consider his words.
As you know, Mr. Hatt, Peter Sam and I used to be called Stuart and Falcon. We were given the numbers 3 and 4 when we were purchased for the Mid-Sodor Railway, and Stanley was number 2.
Well, he was until he was turned into a pumping engine behind our shed. We really didn't have a number 2 after that.
Exactly. That was the case for a few months. It was just myself, Duke, Stuart and Atlas on number 5. Then one morning our manager came to see us in the sheds.
Engines, I have just signed an agreement with the Isle of Man Packet Steamer Company to allow their steamers to call at Alsborough West.
Does this mean we'll have more passengers, sir?
It does indeed. Express trains will run twice daily to meet the steamers. The 4 engines exchanged looks. Although this was good news for the railway, they weren't sure how they'd handle the extra trains. All of them had full schedules already.
May I ask, sir, who will be taking these express trains?
I have purchased a new engine, Andreas, to be our new number 2. Winston will be bringing him up tomorrow morning. The next morning, Winston brought the new engine up to the Alsborough interchange.
Finally!
Andreas exclaimed, once he was on his wheels.
Excuse me?
They only took half that long to load me at Knapford.
They also have bigger cranes at Knapford. We didn't want to drop you.
If I'm to be your express engine, I thought you to treat me with a bit more urgency.
An angry look crossed Stuart's face and he moved forward, bumping Andreas.
Hey!
I thought you were in a hurry.
Andreas didn't reply, which Stuart thought was just as well. As Stuart shunted Andreas to the Bridge Street workshops, the new engine couldn't see what the issue was. He had been brought in to look after this railway's express trains. Surely that would have only been necessary if the engines already on the railway were incapable of pulling the express.
Hello, you must be the new engine. I'm Atlas. It's nice to meet you, but I must be going. There's a train waiting up at the mine with my number on the train order.
With that, the mine engine departed. Andreas watched him go, incredulously.
Does he take actual trains?
Of course. What did you think he was? Some kind of generator?
An engine that small, he's no more than an inspection engine.
Stuart frowned angrily.
Atlas is one of the hardest working engines on this railway. He's proven himself time and time again. You've only just arrived. You haven't proven yourself at all.
I shouldn't think I need to prove myself. After all, if you engines could handle your express, I wouldn't be here.
Stuart was outraged.
You're only here because the rest of us are too busy.
If that were the case, your manager would have brought an engine of a similar size to the rest of you. He obviously doesn't think any of you engines can handle an express train.
That's not true. We knew our manager a lot better than you do, and he doesn't think that at all.
With that, Stuart angrily chuffed off. Unfortunately, nothing the other engines said could convince Andreas otherwise. He seemed determined to prove his superiority too. Every train he took had to leave exactly on time, and any sort of delay annoyed him. He was looking after the railway's express, after all. He had an image to keep up. One morning, a couple of weeks after he'd arrived, Andreas was waiting with the express at Olsted Road. The guard's whistle rang out, followed a moment later by a shout. "Wait! Wait!" Andreas had already begun moving, and he whistled loudly as he pulled away from the station. "Did you hear something, Andreas?" his driver asked. He thought he had heard a shout, but hadn't been able to hear more over Andreas's whistling.
"I don't think so,"
Andreas replied. It wasn't his fault if one of the passengers couldn't make it to the station in time, he thought. An important train like his express couldn't afford to be delayed for just one man. After all, he had to meet the steamer at Hillsborough. Andreas completed his run without any further incidents, and 5 minutes early. As he arrived at Alsborough station, he saw the manager waiting for him, and he did not look happy. As the passengers disembarked, the manager pulled Andreas's driver aside and had a few words. He then strode over to Andreas. "Andreas, I'd like a word with you. We've received a complaint from a passenger."
"What sort of complaint, sir?"
"You left Olsted Road 2 minutes ahead of schedule, which caused him to miss his train and his connection to the steamship here."
"With respect, sir, that's nonsense. I always leave right on time, not a moment sooner or later."
"I checked with the station master, Andreas. He confirmed it. You did leave early."
"Well, it won't happen again."
"The passenger also said he called out to you, and your driver said he thought he heard someone calling out. Did you not hear anything?"
"I'm afraid not, sir."
"Are you sure?"
"Yes, sir."
"I see. You're to look after Falcon's trains for now, Andreas. He'll look after the express."
"Excuse me, sir."
"You're on general duties until I say otherwise, Andreas."
"But, sir, I'm built for express work."
"Your wheel arrangement may indeed make you more suited for passenger trains, Andreas, but I expect all engines on my railway to do what is required of them." Before Andreas could say any more, the manager turned and strode away. Andreas chuffed away furiously. Thanks to one passenger, he thought angrily, he'd been demoted to goods work. Well, he wouldn't stand for this indignity. Early the next morning, Andreas's fireman arrived to get him ready for the day's work. He soon had a fire going, but he was unable to get up enough steam for Andreas to do his work. "Come on, Andreas, we've got to take the horse and cart."
"No, we don't. I was brought here for express work, and that's what I'll do, not dirty goods trains."
"Don't be silly, Andreas," Andreas's fireman said firmly. He climbed out of the cab and stepped around to adjust Andreas's valves.
"Oh no, you don't. I'm not taking that train."
Andreas wheezed. His fireman jumped clear. Falcon's fireman quickly dashed over, shutting off Andreas's steam. Silence fell over the shed. Both fireman and Falcon stared at Andreas, shocked. That hot steam could have easily injured his fireman.
Oh, you've really done it now.